is one thing, but actually seeing the software and going through it is a different feel. So forgive me as I try to do three things at once, and I've also been told to hold the mic a little better so the people in the back can hear me. Sorry about that. If it slips, please somebody just say louder. Again, this is their real website. Drivers going on their site, looking for career opportunities, and it takes them, and what I wanted to point out here is it takes them, the URL, and again, I know it's challenging to read, but the URL says cooney.truckrate.ca. Each fleet has a unique URL, unique database. Again, drivers here quickly switch the language. A new feature that we're adding later this week, the points that, well actually, when I showed you the slides earlier, the instructions to the driver were on the slides. We're pushing that on, we're just finishing testing, and our process is we develop something, development people then push it into our development site, development goes through testing, then from testing we put it onto guinea pig site, Coopark, and then our staff get to play with it, and then once we're satisfied and sign off on it, then we actually will inform you that there's a push coming and what's new coming. We've already had our first, we call it Truck Right U. We had 10 people in our Belleville office and went over new features and enhancements of the software. So as things are rolled out, we will inform you what's coming. You will get screenshots of what's changed and what does it mean to you. This is a living, breathing software, and part of why we don't give you a disk or a flash drive to put it on your system is it's evolving and it's going to continue to grow. We've had some good ideas. I hope you've liked what you've seen so far, but that's just our ideas so far, and some great feedback from Cooney, some great feedback from ITS, SLH, some of our early implementers. But we need industry, more feedback, the better this is going to be for all of us. We talked a little bit earlier about Harriet Trucking is just, it's a dummy website. Our offices happen to be on Harriet Street. We use it for demo purposes. What's on here just, again, quickly shows, I didn't want to take us to the Cooney login page. And this is where somebody would log into the system and away they go. This could be you, this could be the candidate, this could be an employee. One of the things that the system does for us is a candidate, when you create them an access point, has a certain life cycle with your company. Hopefully he becomes an employee, drives your truck, and stays with you for a long time. So his initial candidate access point becomes his employee access point. Doesn't have to reset passwords. But somewhere in the hiring process you decide he's either not qualified, doesn't meet your hiring criteria, maybe something that you're going to look to use in the future. As soon as you change his status off of candidate, it will automatically sever his access point to your software. In TruckRight, we have, I'm tethering up my BlackBerry for some reason. I don't know if you're all on your BlackBerries or phones. The internet went from good to, so I'm tethering up my BlackBerry. So if it dies, I apologize. Again, I mentioned earlier, this is real. This is our area, this is our testing area. It's our demo site. So that a recruiter, if they chose that to be one of the widgets they want on their dashboard, would be the first thing they see. We've divided up, and I'm going to use drivers because most of you're all here about drivers. I believe that's why you're here. We've divided the drivers into 4 separate categories in the system. The first one we keep talking about is candidates, active candidates. And active candidates are the files on your desk that you're trying to get into your truck today. They're the ones that have either emailed you, come off Kijiji, however they've got to you so far. An active candidate to the system is who you're working on now. Prospect pool is another category. Prospect pool is this person doesn't quite meet the criteria of what we're looking for. Maybe somebody we're looking for in the future. Maybe an employee that's left our company that we'd like to bring back. So the prospect pool is that. It's a pool of everybody you speak to. Right now, I believe we've been using this system for 2 years. We've got thousands of drivers in our prospect pool. We can search geolocation, so if we get a new contract out of Cornwall, we can specifically target within a certain mileage range, a certain class of license, whether he's willing to do cross-border. All of that can be done through filters and searching of the prospect pool. The third area, which is kind of what we all want, their employees become part of your fleet. The fourth one is not qualified. Not qualified means in this moment in time they're not qualified. That doesn't mean that you can't go back and search through there as well, but the system will allow you to, and not qualified may be somebody that ran over Mrs. Milquetoast. You don't want that person driving your truck anymore, so he's not qualified and likely never will be again. Johnny Rocket is probably not qualified forever. But generally speaking, somebody that maybe had too many points in your license, today he's not qualified. 6 months from now, he may be qualified. So you've got to decide internally, you want to put him in prospect, you want to put him as not qualified. To us, most people are prospects because eventually they should be somebody who can qualify. So those are the 4 separate ones again: active candidate, prospect pool, not qualified, or employee. I showed you earlier the initial contact. Again, we've got the initial contact in red. It's bright. It's shows you this is where we want to start. And again, going through the application. I hope this is a little better than the screenshots, a little bit more realistic. And again, we talked earlier about dynamic. As the driver answers questions, it asks more questions depending on the type of question. So we're not going to ask a shunt driver if he's comfortable with being away from home. So the system knows the questions to ask. And the expectations to us is a dynamic area of the software with feedback from industry. The expectations area is something that we can actually customize and add to as we need to. I'd just like to pause a little bit here. We've talked about, I've gone over some of the fundamentals of what truck rate is, and I know you guys are writing a ton of notes, and I'd like to take the opportunity to ask some questions, or ask you. So we got 3 questions. I'd like to open it up though. Are there some questions from the audience that you'd like to ask about where we are so far? Yes, sir.
Can you explain the prospect pool again?
Prospect pool, good question. Prospect pool is either an ex-employee or the candidates that we can't use today. They may not have enough experience. They may be looking for something we don't have to offer today. So a prospect pool is a pool of contacts. It's all the resumes that you've got in your drawers, filing cabinets, and when somebody's on modified duties, you say, here, call all these people, see if you can get them a job. So the prospect pool, again, it's a searchable database. And again, in this instance, again in our test area, there's 1,465 in here. And how do you remember a specific one? So we can actually geotag to live within a certain range of a certain city, willing to do cross-border, what sort of expectations they have, what sort of experience. We put in a word unit there. Maybe they talked to a certain division and you want to just look at people that talk to your Calgary office. That's why that's like that. One thing I do want to point out, If in your system, and again, this is a living, breathing, we're adding things to this every 2 weeks, we're adding new things. LA, note to self. Before show not qualified is EN-CA. That means we forgot to put a piece of translation in. And that is something that is written down. But if you ever, again, we're adding things, if you ever notice EN.ca or EN or FR.ca, that's just a language translation. Let us know, we'll get on the back end, readjust it, and push it through. Again, so the prospect pool, this is the searchable area for the prospect pool. Next. Yes?
Is there a time limit of people in that prospect pool? Like how?
That prospect pool is your database. As long as you use truck rate, it's yours. So it's, again, each fleet has their own database. DAD is a repository of driver's history. Truck rate is your fleet's HR system, your fleet's safety and compliance system. They talk to each other, but your system is your prospect pool. So you don't see my prospects, I don't see Gary's prospects, I don't see James.
That was my question.
Okay. Any other questions? Come on. You're writing notes, you're writing? Yes?
So my question is, TruckRight is hosting the servers for this, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so is this information proprietary to TruckRight if you chose to be? And just say if you decided that all this data of information, you wanted to use a different outlet?
That's an excellent question.
Is
It
that
is your data.
It is our data.
And in our service agreement, we're offering you a platform. The data is your data.
So it's exportable?
It is exportable.
Okay.
We actually, again, we're new. We launched in October. We have a place on our servers that you can actually grab a file. So if you want to keep the file separate, keep data, we have that capability. The other thing, which is kind of a segue to that, excuse me. If you have drivers in other systems, you have drivers in Excel spreadsheets, we have a CSV import that covers importing drivers in different formats. And this is just a quick, so this is the format. So we're asking for, are they employee, candidate, prospect, not qualified, employee number, SIN number, first, last, phone numbers, driver's licenses. There's a whole bunch of fields. So if you got it in other databases, and when CUNY first came on, they had quite a bit of data. We did it in this, and it was, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes and it was done. So it's a pretty straightforward process for importing. The other thing in relating to your question, our newest fleet is SLH. And I'm sure you've all heard about the data breaches with Target and some of the big retailers. Well, SLH, I think we all know the parent company of SLH. We had to pass their security protocols. It was a 6-page document, and when I got the document, I wasn't sure if I was meant to lead right to left, left to right, because it was technical, and it was not in my area. I gave it to LA. LA is our project manager. LA and our development team went through and said, yeah, don't worry about this, we got it. The databases are stored at the Verizon data center downtown Toronto. All data is stored in Canada. All data is stored in Toronto. Each fleet has their own instance. The Verizon data center has redundant power supply. It has redundant internet. Again, the security protocols that we had to go through with SLH, I know each one of your companies will likely have your own security protocols, but we're pretty comfortable that we may have to tweak something for an individual fleet, but Sears was a tough, it took us almost 2 months to get through that process, but we have gone through the process.